since Metsonoris played in this very building and created one of the most memorable moments in RLCS World Championship history. If he wants to continue here at the Copper Box Arena, he and Endpoint have to break down the green wall.
They have got the weight of Europe on their shoulders right now. They're hoping that they can pull it through against one of the newer orgs that we're seeing. No longer repping Envy as your stay stacks, as T-Bates kept blabbing on about it's the green wall, and they are here to be that barricade.
The question is, can they do it here, right? As Team Endpoint, even though they're in the lower bracket, they've definitely shown signs of life, and I'm expecting them to pull on the show here. You already see Archie just cutting through the Optic defense as this ball's in the corner, play out, and that might be an open net. Shot will go through, and it'll be Drees with the first goal for Optic.
Taking it away to kick us off, Drees, that man where question marks have been raised historically, from the back line, sending it long within 30 seconds. North America continue their journey on top.
Not many goals for Optic in their series yesterday. Not many goals for Endpoint either, to be honest. See if both these teams can break out of their offensive slumps. Somebody other than Mist has to show up for Optic. So far, Drees, the early goal, the assist to Aleutian. And Alu on his way back to let Mist take over. Drees to his right. Drees lobbing one up for Alu, and Archie's right there for the clear.
We're hearing a lot about Endpoint really backing their cohesion, saying that they are the team where the teamwork is what makes that dream work. But this may well turn into a nightmare for them if Optic keep passing, keep finding each other as they have done. The defense, though, for Endpoint being stretched thinner and thinner with every play.
Some of those offensive plays have looked really well, but I've seen Archie cut through defenses as he tried to get a play right there. Metza will play it high off the back wall, and Drees will be there in time. Even with some of the strong offensive pushes we've seen from Optic Gaming, Endpoint have struck back just as hard on the counterattack.
Archie and Relating Wave trying to not quite win in their own backyard here. Yes, they are Englishmen, but grew up quite a bit away from the Copper Box Arena, as Mist will try and set up one for Alu. And Drees coming in from midfield. He got beat by a mile by Relating Wave. Metsonoris, the only player yet to score at the Spring Major, could not convert there.
A fantastic opportunity as well, just had to send it past that last keeper as the pass came in. But in the end, he comes in with his inaugural goal here in the lowers.
You see the speed. I mean, first of all, the control there, grade 50, and Metsonoris finally getting involved on the scoring like you guys said. The amount of just accuracy on that ball and the pace that Endpoint had on that attack is the reason why we're all tied up.
With, may I say, one of the most beautiful goal explosions that we have seen recently added to the game. Imagine seeing that, seeing the shill. Mate, I can't, no, it's Endpoint.
He's more biased than me on an NRG cast, my God.
I don't
think that's possible. Oh, look at that. It's Alu with the strike, top right corner to give Optic the lead.
Endpoint again having to play from behind as Optic don't let him celebrate equalizing for very long. Still over half the game to go, but Optic much more in sync offensively than they were yesterday. Not really much of a surprise. They're going to have those opportunities here in this matchup, as Mist thought about it but realized Archie had him beaten. Here comes Endpoint quickly downfield.
More pressure. This one gets sent over to the side. You see Archie just kind of struggling there. Good touch from Wave. But of course, Mist, lots of eyes are going to be on Mist today. Was huge for Optic's success, even though they ended up dropping to the lower bracket. When they did show signs of life, it was mainly behind the curtains of Mist. Can he keep up that performance here? As they're holding on to the lead right now, but you can see Endpoint, they're looking for a way in.
Endpoint is not a team that has had a lot of success playing from behind in this spring split. Ever since adding Archie, they've had a lot of their success when they score early and often. Metsonoris dumps one back in. Archie's there. Relating Wave coming in. Three-man play on the works. This will drop down. Metza was there, but Drees a little bit faster. Now he'll throw under the backboard. Archie can't get up there, and Mist could not score either. Golden opportunity missed there by Optic, but they do score. Nobody got a hand up.
Endpoint, where are you existing right now? That is Optic smothering the entire blue half. Whilst there was nobody from Endpoint, Drees can rotate in nice and freely, can get the tap over the line, clearing Optic by 2 goals with only 2 minutes left, as it makes it a bit more nerve-wracking because you only have 5 games maximum to win here.
And you've seen Endpoint really, show a lot of speed and good control on the ball on their own offense. So it's a shame that they end up, having that defensive misplay on their own back end. They really got to get things together here, just try to figure out what Optic are doing and get more involved in the front. Look at this, relating Wave. There's a shot into the top left corner. Wave brings this within 1.
Relating Wave trying to smash down that green wall, Metza to the ceiling, and as it descends, he is there to send it right back behind Alu.
We wondered if Metzanorris would get a little bit of help after that early goal. He gets his first, he gets the assist there as well as Relating Wave gets in on the act. And now Alu over Metza. Archie's got to race back, and he does clear off the backboard. Dree's not able to center, and Metza waiting to see what Mist does. And he just could not keep up with the play. Here goes Mist, numbers advantage. Dree's to his right, and Relating Wave swats it away. No follow-up as that goes harmlessly to the corner, but a big demo there by Alu, taking out Archie, going for the corner boost, trying to pinch in front, and Relating Wave, big muscular defensive effort there to stop Optic from adding to their advantage again, and Archie with a save that keeps Endpoint alive here in game 1.
You're seeing a lot of offense come out here from Drees and Alu. Again, they were very, very quiet last time we saw Optic play. Now it seems like not only are they coming alive, but we're starting to see glimpses of, I'd say, fall major Alu here on display, and that could be a very dangerous position if you're Endpoint. You want to be able to kind of control this, kind of go back to what people were saying, like this may be a 1v3 here. No, it looks like everybody has shown up in game 1.
Optic, such an interesting roster, and Alu's there to get the 1-2. The third will not be his, but Mist is able to secure, and again, that rotation so close, just the trust in Alu to get that past every defender, the double flip reset, and Mist in those opportunities can send it bottom corner. Clear by 2, looking like game 1 goes the way of North America.
Unless we have some kind of Mickey Mouse kickoffs here out of Optic. We've seen that's been a big point of emphasis with RLCS teams lately and how not to do kickoffs, but Optic keeps Endpoint off the board. You saw they pushed forward, and Optic picked them apart.
Oh man, look at this. Beautiful work here for Drees. Gets the flip reset, pops it over Archie, and Miss with the follow-up. It just looks so fluid here for Optic Gaming.
He absolutely flung that towards the net and says, I've done my part, you do the rest, mate. Sink it, get us 3 lead. 10 seconds remaining. Optic Gaming, Relating Wave before the game started, said they don't have it. They don't have that cohesion. They are not the better team. Relating Wave, you may well be wrong, and if that continues, Europe is in a very tough spot, not just in this series, there is so much riding on it. If Optic end up winning, that means that the EU 4th seed, i.e. Evil Geniuses, they will not be going to Worlds. There are so many implications in the series. It also means that Moist, they will be clinching that Worlds main event, which is a win for Europe, so we're currently at 1-1 in that. Otherwise, Dignitas, if there's an Optic win, will no longer make that Worlds main event. They will fall to the wild card. There is everything on the line here for North America, not just in this tournament, but going forward to Dallas.
We saw Metzanorris' first goal of the Spring Major. They're going to need a lot more out of him to slow down Optic, as Lucian and Optic Gaming roared back with a vengeance after that game was tied up 5-2, the dub in game number 1. And now the key for Optic is to keep their foot on the gas. They cannot let up, they cannot relent here and let Endpoint get any semblance of breath or any kind of foothold in this series, because we know as well as anybody, Endpoint, once they get the ball rolling, it is tough to stop that snowball.
Yeah, I mean, when we've seen, Archie especially, right? He's the big factor here.
Yep.
Coming in to this split, he replaced Seiko on Endpoint, and now he's looking to make sure that that was an impact decision that works out in that team's favor. We've seen signs of life from Endpoint with Archie, but he also needs everybody else behind him as well. We've seen it like we saw in the game 1. Metzanorris stepping up, Relating Wave getting involved. Just like Optic need to be cohesive as a team. Endpoint is pretty much the same thing with them as well.
He's the one man that everyone said could replace Seiko, and sure, they've done well to get here. You need to close it out. BDS did well to get here. They couldn't close it out. Moisture in the lowers as well. Europe, we're molding. We need some good news. And Aquilo may well be the place where we see Endpoint even it up, but they need a bigger performance than we saw in game number 1.
Oh, Drees,
Good
good
pass.
infield pass to
Oh!
Illusion, and he almost tucked that in on the top side. Mist will follow it up, and Optic take the lead early.
Do you see the work here? The pass mid. Drees tried to do it all himself, but missed there to get the follow-up. That Optic pressure to start things off. They are feeling it as a team.
The cameras showing them laughing, showing them smiling, missing that bottom camera, listening to the other two, having a good time. The vibes are there. Optic, they're clicking together. How do you shut that down when you've got someone on the backboard out of nowhere? Do you have to what? Just pretend that you're able to get in the way of that ball? Alu again going for the shot, sent to the backboard. This is time and time again. The pressure, the attack, the close shadowing for Optic is a blight on Endpoint.
And I'm saying wow because that turn from Alu was just so quick. We just saw him rotate out, and I mean that aggressiveness and confidence is so important to see from this team. They're showing offense that I don't think we've seen for a while, but they got to be careful on defense there. You see Endpoint, they're looking to try to set something up there. Archie trying to leave it for Wave. Wave has the flip, but the touch is a little off, and the ball going to the
I mean, $1 million move, but a 10-cent finish. They could not actually put the ball anywhere on target. Everything's up to the backboard. It looked like a Harlem Globetrotters layup line. And now Mist, his shot just off the bar and in, and Optic doubles the lead.
Sometimes the simplest solution is the one you need to do, and Mist sees it hits the ground, and that man just hits it hard.
off the crossbar and in. Beautiful setup, great shot. Like you said, you don't need to do anything flashy here. And I think Optic recognized that. They just have to play their game. It's working out so far.
Aleutian not directly involved in that play, but he's had his fingerprints all over a lot for Optic Gaming here. Metza Norris on target this time, but missed with the save, and Alu will try and spring Drees downfield, but that's a good ball played by Relating Wave, and Archie to find Metza Norris. You know, the longevity of Metza Norris and Aleutian in their career has been incredible. Archie will get one back for Endpoint with 3 minutes left.
I thought Metza absolutely screwed that play up, to be completely honest. They got one touch, the second touch. None of them really on target. And Archie comes in, sweeps it to show them how it's done. Endpoint getting a goal on Aquedo.
Yeah, to get one here, and you got to think, we've got 3 goals in the first couple of minutes. Endpoint, it does seem like they're starting to settle in here, but it also on the other side of things for them, they haven't really found an answer to Optic's offense. They've just had a good counterattack of their own. Need to see a little bit more from them if they want to get back into this game.
Some incredibly confident pre-jumps coming out from Optic as well. They have the read on Endpoint. It's like they just know what they're going to do.
They got him downloaded.
Reading. They do, they really do.
This goes out to the wing, and Relating Wave looking for Archie, instead finding Aleutian. And now Drees will try and show him how it's done. Got missed way in the air, but he won't follow it up. He had no boost. Drees will try and keep this alive. He got nudged off the play, but can still stay with it. His shot's high and wide, and still sent back by Metza.
Got to be really careful here. If you're Endpoint, Optic are knocking at the door. They've been very close on some of these drives. But as we're at the halfway point of this game, still a 1-goal lead for Optic. Miss trying to make that 2 as that goes off the ceiling. Drees with the speed test, but a little bit too slow. And we'll see again Alu trying to keep things in front.
The boost game has been critical for Optic so far in this series. Endpoint in this game in particular, a lot of zeros up there in the top left. They had a couple there as well, and now Archie can just clear this out, and that will be a big reprieve for Endpoint as they can maybe finally get some boost if Archie can find any.
Archie finding the simplest solution there, sees the ball, absolutely smacks it back to the orange half, wants none of that nonsense in the blue side. Again, on that backboard, sends it actually just behind that player. I thought Ali might be able to get a shot out, but instead it falls to Optic regardless. It falls nicely for Drees go for a shot, flip reset, but it's not for him. He played Faker.
And look at this, the team play, the level of trust here on a play like this. You see Drees with the touch out, doesn't try to go for anything else because he knows Miss is in the air. The follow-up, extremely quick. Optic, super effective on the offensive drive. And, I mean, I feel just about as stunned as Endpoint right now with what I'm seeing. 1:30, and Optic are up by 2.
Which is something like 3 goals in the entire series yesterday, and they've got a bucket full now. As Optic continues to run up the score, Relating Wave can't connect. And now Archie through the corner, got one on target as he slipped behind the defense. Endpoint back within 1, just over a minute to go.
The goal explosion, potentially a ray of sunshine for Endpoint and European fans as a whole. The quick turn in the corner sends it directly towards the net. It is something that Endpoint need. With a minute remaining, Optic still leading by a game and a goal, I suppose. They don't want to be staring down, having to get that, albeit minuscule, reverse sweep.
What do you do when the team that you thought you had figured out comes out with something you've never seen before? That's the question Endpoint are trying to ask in the final minute. As time ticks down, they need to create some of their own opportunities. As they're looking to keep that pressure, you see that shot out. It's a good save by Dries.
But why was the pass not there? Metza was completely unmarked. He could have hit that towards him, got a shot off, made it a bit more threatening, but no, he goes for a simple shot. Sometimes you do need to be a bit more creative, especially against this Optic.
That's a Norris. Good win there to keep that ball available, but Dries and Mist better just by a small margin on the defensive effort. Relating Wave got to start from his own back line now with just over 20 seconds. And a good play made it midfield. Now Metza coming on, beaten by Dries again. Dries has stepped up in a big way defensively now. 15 seconds left. Mist trying to power one through. Metza Norris doesn't have any options. Final 10 seconds. Mist looking for the dagger in game 2. He'll throw another up to the backboard. Another time-wasting effort. And it might just work out. Metza, Archie, somebody's got to take charge. And now Relating Wave, it's all desperation for Endpoint with no time on the clock. And Metza doing all he can.
Okay.
He's at least given them a chance. Archie at midfield. Got to get this to the side with nothing in the tank. And that's been the bane of Endpoint this entire game. Not enough boost to do anything at all. And they fall by 1 in game 2.
Optic rotating and quite frankly being very greedy hippos, stealing all of the boost pads around the pitch, removing any abilities for Endpoint. The amount of times, if the camera was on, I was like crouching down being like, what are you doing, Endpoint? Why aren't you going for that ball? It's because you look, top left, there's nothing. And the defeat on their faces is something that we do not see from Endpoint very often. Typically, you know, they might take a timeout, they might be able to work past it, but you do not get that luxury when you're in these best of 5s. And the vibes on Optic are, in a word, immaculate.
I mean, when you look at Endpoint here, they're definitely going to have to lean on Eclipse because I think that they did have a set play style kind of figured out based on what we've seen from Optic over the course of this tournament, but Optic have clearly figured out something that works well for them. Now, when you look at things going into this game 3, Endpoint's backs are against the wall. They're going to really need to come together because you are right. There are things that we've seen from Endpoint when they're on the offensive end that are just very questionable. Sometimes they have the ball. You're wondering, okay, why is this pass not here? Sometimes if you see double commits on the back end on defense, it just feels like they're not working together. It's just they are so stunned that they're losing the Optic that it's making them make some questionable decisions.
Literally Relating Wave's talking point was we have the cohesion, we have the team play, and yet Stacks, we're just not seeing that. Optic shutting it down so effectively. And Optic, they're about to ruin many European lives here if they secure the dub.
Oh boy.
Well, Archie, Lucas, and Otto have to figure something out here. Endpoint on to their last life on DFH. As Relating Wave got one out to Metza Norris. And he can't move any further downfield. He was on his way back, so Archie's got to take charge. Trying to get around Alu. Not happening. And that's just been another theme. Not much has changed from game 1 to game 2. And now
except for that car.
the early stage of game 3. Well, new car. We'll see if it's a different result in the grand scheme of things. Nothing netward for Endpoint.
Metza played very well in that car previously. I remember him hitting a couple of clips. Hopefully he's going to be able to, and they won't lose the series, and he won't be hitting Eclipse.
Yeah, hopefully so. We'll say that much. Right now, they're trying to get things under control here. Endpoint start off with some decent offensive pressure. You see Metza off the ceiling. He's got 0 boost, so that ball will end up going away from him. And now we'll see Relating Wave trying to pick this one up. But again, Optic in that midfield, looking for an infield pass towards each other. I will say, for the start of this game 3, it's been fairly quiet for Optic. It seems like they're just letting Endpoint bring the ball to them, and then they try to play the counterattack. There's a shot there, and it's Alu with the first goal of game 3.
The counterattack, so effective every time we've seen Optic do it. They wait for their moment. They're sitting in the cave, striking like a moray eel, and Optic are the team that are able to shut Endpoint down time and time again. And Endpoint behind, it just is not going their way.
All 3 games, Optic has scored first and very early on. Archie trying to make that save. They're running along the back wall. He didn't have any boost, and nobody had anything to work with here. Mist will score with a little bit of interference downfield, and Optic are cruising in game 3.
That is cruel. That is cruel, Alu. Chasing down Metza, sending him netward. No chance for a save at all. Optic, my word.
It feels like they finally figured it out. And at the right time, too. What we're witnessing from this Optic Gaming squad is what you kind of always wanted to see. Everybody playing to their strengths. You almost saw another goal there from Alu, just barely off target. Now for Endpoint, as 2 demos happen, they have a lot that they have to try to get in control and not a lot of time left. They're down by 2 in the series. There's 3 minutes left in this game. They need something quickly if they want to even think about a reverse sweep.
So often we talk about European teams having that home field advantage the same way we talk about NA on North American soil. That has not been the case. Here at the Spring Major, Relating Wave trying to change the momentum. Now Archie lining one up and Alu with the save there. Metza hard out of the corner, but it's Drees. Downfield all alone.
Oh!
Relating Wave just barely got there to keep Endpoint within 2.
Oh man, you should see Stumpy
Anybody
right
home?
now.
Yes, there is.
Stumpy is having a hard time.
I'm
I'll
happy
tell you
and I
that
love
much.
this series. This is great and I'm having a good day.
Listen, what we're looking at right now, I mean, when you see Endpoint on the offensive press, I mean, it just feels like, okay, something you would just expect to be a shot. They take it into the air, and it feels like they want to try to do a little bit more, maybe, you know, show off the mechanics. They just honestly just need to put pressure on and keep accurate offensive shots on. Not too much more to try to just get past the Optic defense, but I feel like they're taking away they're taking too much time. They need the offensive press as that one goes all the way downfield. There was a dunk there by Miss, but the play still dissolves in the corner.
The side-by-side comparison of Bates and Stumpy right now would be comedic gold, as Drees got bumped away from the play there by Archie just a little bit, but still stays around, and Miss just beaten out by Archie, who's putting in a lot of effort now, trying to get Endpoint back from the dead.
The final 90 seconds, Endpoint needing something to materialize. They need to draw up a plan and they need to stick to it religiously. A devastating ball flying in front of the net, but now Archie in the corner. Not too much boost, does find Relating Wave with 50 going midfield. Boostwood, but Archie, as it bounces midfield, isn't able to get to it. Can Drees slip in? Not quite. Archie to intercept. That's nice. The interception is finally going the way of Endpoint because Optic have been so aggressive. They've shut down everything. They have been a nuisance. Metza trying to be a nuisance this time. The bumps, the demos, anything in the final 60 seconds. This is do or die.
Oh, that's a good one there, though, from Archie. And again, they just can't spring anybody downfield, Daz. It's just time and time again. Optic are so much faster in midfield, and they almost put it away there.
Yeah, that was close. I mean, you can kind of tell just from how the pace of play is looking. Optic have everything going for them, but when you look at Endpoint, it just feels like they're playing catch-up. Everything seems rushed, out of control. Look, they're 50ing each other on the sidewall. They need, again, just more cohesion there as a team. Some of these bounces that they just can't read, and with 30 seconds remaining, they only have so many drives left. Metza trying to get it here, and it does with the flip reset. There's still a chance for Endpoint.
Finally, something goes Endpoint's way, and it is Metza in the Gordy Mobile. Alu isn't able to get a save away from it. There's 24 seconds. Endpoint, all of those blue fans need a chance. They need that hope, and that is the ray of sunshine. Metza in the corner. Can he continue his God's work?
Oh, he's been the guy, but now Relating Wave has to make another miraculous save, and he does with 15 seconds left. Drees watches Metza go by. Opportunity, Archie turns away, and Relating Wave could only get a demo. 5 seconds left. Drees for Miss.
My goodness!
And another European team meets its Endpoint.
Oh my God.